You can't reflect too hard on things that could have, should have, would have happened. The universe rewarding you in a way of reciprocation. The power of perspective and how we all view the world from a different lens. If you can genuinely be happy for other people around you's success, you can always shift your perspective and state of mind to create a positive outlook on life. Like, don't get it fucked up. I'm a really good human, but I'm not a nice guy. Male roles in this world is being a provider and protector. That just be yourself, show up as yourself. Yeah, they're fucking cute. Just leave them alone.
They're adorable.
Pretty much nailed them all.
I get a compliment, no matter who it's from. It makes you feel good, right? Naturally, like putting that positive energy into the world is something I started doing more of.
Best answer ever.
I'm a quality human, commit to things, set expectation. I granted no human's perfect, but I think I bring a lot.
All right, welcome back to another episode of First Rounds on Me, a space where genuine, heartfelt conversations thrive. Whether we're talking love, friendship, the complexities of modern dating, or exploring the many facets of human relationships, we invite you to join us as we embark on a journey to uncover the powerful connections that shape our lives and define who we are. As a reminder, we release a new episode every Monday morning, making us the perfect companions for your commute to work. Today, we are very excited to have the incredible Craig Levinson join us. As the mastermind behind CL Talent, Craig has played an instrumental role in shaping the careers of countless celebrities, athletes, and influencers. We're going to deep dive into Craig's inspiring journey, unpack the innovative strategies employed by CL Talent, and of course get his thoughts on the ever-evolving worlds of love, relationships, and dating. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Like I said, thank you so much for taking time to be here with us today. I think to start, can you let our listeners know just like a little bit about your journey? Because clearly you're not American.
Not American. That's a given for sure when you, I guess, hear me start talking. But no, I'm from somewhere else in the world. Often get England, Australia, but I'll break that down for you guys.
I appreciate it.
So born in South Africa, spent my childhood there, first 9 years of my life. And, parents raised me and my three brothers there. And at 9 years old, I remember a little bit of trauma hearing that I was moving to another continent in another part of the world without knowing much other than like my friends and the wildlife in Africa and all positive stuff, not all the crazy crime, and that it's a third world country and there's the highest rate of hijacking and all kinds of stuff that exists there. So at 9 years old, my parents are like, we're moving to somewhere different and you got to start life again, which, at the time you just cry and whatever, but then you reflect on it. And that was technically a traumatic experience because knowing everything positive and a place that you feel comfortable and safe in, and then that being pulled from you, it's like your favorite toy being pulled away. But anyway, it probably shaped me who I am. So
Definitely did.
From 9 until 19, I grew up in New Zealand, and that became home for me. And from a young age, had a cultural shift to understand these norms of how I grew up in South Africa. Here's a different place with different perspectives on life and way of doing things. And one of the first things that stuck out to me is a lot of Kiwis or people from New Zealand don't wear shoes.
No.
So you go around and there's a bunch of people walking around barefoot and
in grocery stores, in malls.
Oh yeah, exactly, like public places. So that was one of the first things that stood out to me. Like, is everybody homeless, or do they just not like to wear shoes?
Did you notice a social difference? Because like you said, South Africa was pretty unsafe, but that's all you knew. Yeah, I would think that New Zealand's the complete opposite.
It is a complete opposite. Cops don't have guns. They use like batons or whatever you want to call them. And it went from South Africa, third world, very corrupt, a lot of crime. You can pay your way through stuff, to a place where there's 28 million sheep and 4 million people. So wow. Just a nice statistics for you to let you know what we're dealing with. And I get sometimes asked, is like, are there sheep everywhere? I'm like, not on the roads, but like if you go to the rural parts, yeah, there's a lot of sheep.
People ask the same thing about Australia with kangaroos. They're like, are they everywhere? Same thing. Like,
yeah,
they're not they're not hopping through a major city, but they're out there.
Yeah, they're not getting in boxing matches on the regular like you see on social media, but they're out there.
They are there.
Moved to Auckland, which is like the main city. It's not the capital. Wellington's the capital. People often think Auckland is, but it's just the biggest city. And had a great upbringing there. I definitely went from a very crazy, dangerous environment to extremely safe, where my parents had to kind of learn, like, you don't have to like protect us as much. Like, you know, we can kind of spread our wings more and be safe. That's why you guys moved us here.
But I feel like being South African, you guys are bred tougher anyway. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think like that experience of being in like an environment that you have to kind of watch your back at all times, definitely probably shaped part of my parents, which reflected upon how I was raised. So, you know, transition into life in New Zealand was a great experience growing up because it was a safe environment. I think having that early perspective shift in life from a young age gave me like an advantage in a way, to see things from a different lens and perspective, even as a child. So I was never the greatest student. I hated school, but I was good at things that I loved. So very early I found out how to take classes that I actually enjoyed, like visual arts and photography and things that weren't super academic you didn't have to study for, because I hated studying. Like,
oh, me too.
I cheated my way through high school.
Well, they say that the most
Good
successful people in the world were never really great at academia because they couldn't. Their brains are too
fit into
powerful
like a
to
box
stay in
or
the lines.
system.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Structured academia.
So what I realized from a young age, I was very good at outsmarting systems, and I was like, okay, I know I have to do this because there's no way around it, but I'll do it my way. So, you know, essentially I cheated my way through high school and still got the job done. Even it's funny story, you know, I'll talk more about it, but I played basketball growing up, and basketball was my driving force. And in high school, I went to a traditional boys' school with school uniforms. It was public, one of the top public schools, and we had school uniforms. And I hated it. Again, that's a system I didn't like. So everyone's wearing school uniform. And like my second year of high school, it was fourth form, or equivalent of here, sophomore year. I was playing lunchtime at school, but basketball at lunchtime, sorry. And we were all playing, and I was like, I hate these dress shoes. So I wrote myself a doctor's note saying I couldn't wear school shoes, you know, it damaged my feet and whatever I wrote at the time. And for 3 years, I wore T-Mac basketball shoes that were all black with a blue stripe.
I had those. Those were
You remember
good.
the T-Macs?
Yeah. Wow.
So
That's so smart.
For 3 years, I wore T-Macs, and I had to update my doctor's note. I even told my mom, and I was like, look, I'm writing myself this note, just letting you know.
She was like, do whatever
it's
you
signed
need
by
to do,
you. So those were early days of like outsmarting systems. And whenever a teacher would come up, bang, here's my note, you know, updated it every few months and then kept it current in conversation. And I got to play basketball at lunchtime and beat everybody with my T-Macs. And I was a good athlete growing up. So like 14, I was dunking a basketball. So I was dunking my T-Macs and...
I know nothing about basketball, but just from Joe's face, he was like 14. Dunking a basketball 14 is pretty impressive. Correct?
Oh, yeah, especially if you're not 6'5" or up.
Yeah, I was probably 5'8", white guy, dunking basketball. That's where I realized I had a gift for the sport, at least just naturally athletic. So, you know, that was early stages in New Zealand.
How about when you moved to the United States? Because you moved here when you were 19.
19, yeah. I pivoted into, got opportunity to play some ball over here.
What was that opportunity?
So a guy opened a Mexican restaurant in San Diego. A guy from San Diego opened a Mexican restaurant in New Zealand. Two brothers, originally from Oregon, but they went to play basketball in San Diego. And I was working at their restaurant. Well, first we became friends on the basketball court, like open runs and stuff. And I'd brought up to them once, like, man, I'd love to play in the States. And they're like, well, we can make that happen.
So in New Zealand, there's no... Well, like, in the U.S., there's like high school, college, pro, and you follow the path. In New Zealand,
there's no college. It's like you either go. It's high school to pro. So I played some like professional ball there before I came here. I played like semi-pro, and Anyway, met these brothers, talked to them about coming to the States, and it was always a dream of mine watching all these basketball movies on TV. He Got Game, Love and Basketball. There's a bunch of them, and I was like, damn, that looks so cool. Like I want to experience and. The game is created here. It's like the mecca of, NBA, all that stuff. So I wanted to create that opportunity, and these guys opened that door for me. And they were like, we can help you, put you in contact with coaches, whatever. So I was working at their Mexican restaurant, and after a few weeks, they were like, if you weren't our friend, we would have fired you by now. Like, again, the system of being told what to do. I'm making burritos, I'm doing whatever, but I'm drifting away and like just operating at my own pace and whatever. So like clearly you don't do that when you have a job, but I was, and that's where I realized I've always kind of done things my own way. But realized I'm also not created for certain systems, and like, I've never had a real job to this day, or quote unquote real job, because I've just always figured out my way of doing it. So transition, I saved up a couple grand, moved to the States, wasn't on a scholarship. I got in contact with coaches in Oceanside, and then joined the junior college team there. And that's where a lot of doors started opening, and I realized the gift of basketball and how I could use that to create opportunity from. So was doing anything financially to get by and support myself, had a bit of money saved up, helping my college teammates with their homework and classes, and technically got other people degrees before myself, and I hated school, but when there was a money attached to it, it was a different state of mind.
Driving force behind that, isn't it?
Exactly. It was completely different to my traditional state of mind with school. So yeah, anyway, went through my college career, eventually earned a scholarship, worked hard to put myself in a position to get school paid for, and went to a 4-year school, went through the basketball side of things.
Where was that?
I went to Cal State San Marcos, a school dad in San Diego. Really good program, Division II, but most of our team were D1 bounce back, so a bunch of like freak athletes. I was like, damn, I'm still really athletic, but these guys are too. So it was like, it was a little bit different when you like come from being one of the best athletes, then everybody's athletic at that level of playing. And then my senior year, I basically had a career-ending injury. I dislocated my ankle, came down really awkwardly, and the whole thing like popped out and was carried on a stretcher to the hospital and had a kind of botched surgery. The first surgeon I saw was just like, all right, fix me up. He wasn't even an ankle specialist by any means. Really bad bedside manners. After about 4 years ago, I checked his reviews on Google, and I was like, damn, no wonder my ankle's fucked up.
Oh, no.
But it is what it is. You can't dwell on things in life. You have to just move forward. I'm very blessed at the things I do have and what I've been able to create with my life. So, that's kind of how I reflect on things is from a positive lens and perspective, because you can't reflect too hard on things that coulda, shoulda, woulda happened.
Oh, well, like upon doing research on you, like that was the shining element that kind of came through in a lot of the interviews that I saw, or the podcast that you were in, was this like perpetually positive attitude that you had towards life, and how you injected that both into your company and the people that you manage. So I want to talk about CL talent at large, but I think first and foremost, Joe's going to jump into Zion Clark, because this is obviously such a big part of your story.
Yeah.
So you're done.
Well, good segue, because I had the same injury. Well, a similar injury to you. I snapped my tib fib. So the same injury as Paul
Compound
George.
fracture. Yeah.
When I was like 23, and basketball was my life too.
Yeah.
And then it forced me you're pretty much in a cast for 4 months.
Yeah.
And it just forced me to be like, okay, I was always passionate and creative about this thing. Now, obviously, this thing is, I was never going to make the NBA, obviously, but that's all I thought about.
The thing you love to do, yeah.
But I was like, how do I channel this creativity or passion somewhere else? And that's where I started to be entrepreneurial. But yeah, great segue to Zion Clark, where, what attracted you to him? How did you meet him? Because he's somebody that is literally the epitome of inspiration. And, when you say like, woe is me, it's like, well, if somebody else could do what he's doing, then your problem's not really that big. For
sure. So we met backstage on the Ellen DeGeneres show. That was like his second time ever in California, and he got invited to be on the Ellen show, and my best friend was there working with Jason Momoa, and they were filming an episode at the same time. So it was kind of the universe like putting things in a certain place, I believe, right timing of life. And we met and formed a friendship through that, and formed a bond, and didn't start working together for a while. But I established trust with him, and naturally he realized he could kind of open up to me more and trust me as somebody just in his corner. And then that progressed into me realizing he was very special, and if I helped view them from a perspective of impact and shining this message to the world, it could be very impactful. And it wasn't with an expectation of what comes out of this. It was just like, okay, I can help this human and guide him in a way. And the universe really like reciprocated things in a way of putting certain people into my life and take me in places that I'm super grateful for, because I've done a lot in my time on this planet. And that was a huge pivotal point. So I think realizing how do you add value to somebody else's life or add value in this world is a very powerful way of the universe rewarding you in a way of reciprocation. So, and it's doing it without intention of saying, well, I need the universe to pay me back, but just naturally by giving, things open up more. Once you open yourself up to giving, the universe opens up as well.
Well, don't you believe? I mean, I kind of subscribe to the way of living. If you go at it with an expectation from the universe, going, if I'm going to do this, then you better give me this.
Yeah.
You're never going to get what you want. If you go in with no expectations and just an open heart and a giving heart, to your point, then it is you reap all of the benefits of it without even having to ask.
Yeah, it's having an abundance mentality to life, and I think it's a very powerful place to be in. I know this, obviously you guys in the world of relationship and dating, and I even approach that in the world of dating. I don't have a scarcity mindset or an expectation of this date has to lead to have a very abundance approach to things. And granted, I'm still single, but it's by choice. I'm still growing and evolving and doing things that Craig wants to do in the world before bringing a significant other, full time alongside me.
That's a vital part of it. Is I think sometimes a lot of people they don't have that abundance mindset when it comes to dating. So they're like, I need someone next to me. I really don't care who it is, but I want a partner.
Yeah.
And when you focus on yourself and building yourself up to the point where you're like happy, fulfilled, and comfortable with your life, then you'll attract the right partner.
100%. And it might be cliche or people talk about it on social media, but it's true. If you really have an abundance approach to things and you're never in a needy, because I'm not a female, but like even I know girls can read or feel when there's like we
can smell it, mate.
Yeah, like a neediness or like this, and that's not an attractive trait. It's not masculine. It's not. But when you just approach things with that more abundance state of mind, with everything, with financials, with dating, with life, with it's a powerful place because I've seen it personally through my evolution as a human.
I think that's great advice for the people out there.
Yeah, I love it. It's hard in LA, but just like you said, full circle. Like I personally love helping people.
Yeah.
And then the people I'm helping them with, like, oh, what are you getting out of it? I'm like, oh, I don't want anything. Like, you're just gonna help this person? I said, yeah, it makes me feel good, because maybe one day I'm gonna need help, and then maybe I'm not in a position to cut a piece of it off for somebody else. It's like, you just help people and see what happens.
Exactly. And there's, obviously you're a former basketball guy, but I recently got to connect a few times with George Mumford, who was Kobe and Michael Jordan's mental performance coach. And I got him and Zion to do like a panel together. And,
nice.
He's an author and still works in that world of mental performance. And he said something that stuck with me. It was like, if you can genuinely be happy for other people around you's success, you can always shift your perspective and state of mind to create a positive outlook on life. Because when it's all about you and you have your downfalls now, it might bring you down in certain times. But if you can genuinely be happy for those around you and them succeeding, now you can always create that happy state again by seeing those around you winning.
I love that.
And I was like, wow, that's a very positive and real way to create like a positive state of mind, even those times where you're like, damn, I'm struggling, but damn, those people around me are winning. It's the same of feeling like happy by giving. In one way, it's like selfish in a positive way because you get joy out of seeing others win too, but you're also helping them as well. So it's like this.
Well, it's like the scale of what it is like, yes, you get a little bit of joy out of seeing someone succeed, but like the joy that they get of actually succeeding, and then it's just like this beautiful revolving door of joy.
Exactly.
Which I think is...
But people who could do that says a lot about them, because I think that's the hardest thing in life, is genuinely being happy for somebody else when you're not winning.
Yeah.
So those people, it's like you're really secure with who you are, which is really beautiful.
I always reflect on things like life does have waves and it has ups and downs. So like when I'm going through something mentally, whatever it is, like my ankle's bothering me and I'm like pissed off, I just remember that these waves of life. You have to like go ride that wave, and you can't fight against it, because it's like trying to fight against the current while you're in the ocean. You're gonna lose that battle.
Oh yeah.
But
unless
if
you swim parallel.
Yeah. But if you go with the flow of things, and realize that you have emotions, and you naturally have to like process them and go through things.
100%.
Nice. So what do you think is one thing that you've learned from him and that he's learned from you, and how has that helped you guys on your mission together?
One thing I've learned from him is the power of perspective, and how we all view the world from a different lens. So here's a guy that was born without legs with a crazy life story that literally sees the world from the ground. So I used to live with him for a while just to help like mentor him and be closer to him. And he's super messy. And at first I was like, annoyed by things. And then I was like, okay, well, he doesn't have a bird's eye view of the room. So like he's literally seeing it from the ground. And when I reflected upon like things like that, I'm like, or simple things of us being at the airport. He travels on a skateboard. So he travels the world on the skateboard. And every time we have to go up an elevator or lift, we always have to find the elevator or the
escalator. Gotcha.
We have to always take the escalator, and always finding where it is. And I was like, damn, well, this is something he always has to do. It's not just when he's with me. So those perspective shifts create a lot more gratitude of what I do have, and this powerful perspective of being around somebody all the time that has this limitation that he doesn't show a lot, because he drives, he's a professional athlete, does all these crazy things that the world's like, how the hell does he do that? So that's one huge thing I've learned from him, is the being very grateful, and realizing that we all has a very different perspective on the world. So it also taught me to not have to be right in situation, even when I'm right. So I took a step back and I was like, okay, I don't need to prove myself right, even when I am. Just, sometimes you just have to take a step back and not let your ego have to have a conclusion.
That's the key to a marriage too. I'll tell
you
that.
Is stepping ego aside 100%.
Yeah. And it's taught me a lot, because even sometimes when I get fired up in situation over certain things with people, and then I take a step back and I reflect upon it, I'm like, okay, even when you're right, sometimes just be the one to apologize and de-escalate a situation, because I'm okay to like know to myself I'm right, but still apologize for something even when I'm right. So it's like
the definition of being a bigger person, truly and utterly. At the end of the day, is if you can bite your tongue,
exactly,
and you're entirely like, I fucking know I'm right, but also at the same time, I'm gonna take this.
Yeah, exactly. It's that taught me a lot, because like if we both were fiery and bumped heads, wouldn't have worked out.
Oh,
So
I'm sure.
I've always had patience, a lot of patience, but sometimes I've been tested to the limit.
Yeah, you seem like a pretty patient fella.
I'm very calm, and like, I don't let a lot like stir me up.
Frazzle, yeah.
I don't. I'm very like even keel, calm human, but
makes you a great leader then.
it has helped me to understand that I have a gift for leader. But when it comes to dating, I always joke around. I'm a really good human, but I'm not a nice guy. Like, don't get it fucked up.
What do you mean? Explain
because
that.
of nice guy, a nice guy is someone that gets walked all over.
Yeah.
If you're a nice guy, that's more scarcity mindset of like, I need to prove validation to you, and I'm really nice. But nice is walked all over. So being good to everybody is very different to being a nice guy.
So like a good human, but I'm not a nice guy.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
You should get that printed on a t-shirt.
I'm a good human, not a nice guy.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right? Because you have to have self-respect. A nice guy doesn't have self-respect because they let somebody else's decisions own who they are.
Affect what
a
they
good
do.
human has self-respect before anything else comes. Like, I'll never let somebody disrespect me in any situation. That's A1 to me, is I have more respect for myself than you have to, then you do somebody else. That's just naturally how you got to show up in the world.
It goes a long way in business too, though. Because
100%.
I've had times where, and I'm sure you're the same, where people are like, oh, he's so nice. Like, I'm going to say this and do this. And then you find out, oh, you were trying to, get one up on me and take advantage of me. And then that business aggressive side comes out, like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. I'm never doing that again.
No, exactly. That's having that self-respect to stand up for yourself, or communicate shit where you need to, right? If you're passive aggressive or you don't say things that you know, like if I see something publicly that I know is not right, I'm going to verbalize it. Where a lot of people are like, oh, don't do that. Or it's like, no, I'm going to fucking speak my mind.
Yeah.
Of when I was with Zion, working full time, I was very protective over him. When I saw people like laughing or shit, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I could see it. I would like confront them and like, show like my more scary side.
I wouldn't want to be on that side. I have a feeling
that's attractive to women too, that you stand up for the right things, but you show that real manly side in a good way.
Yeah, I think it's part of being a provider and a protector. That's like part of male roles in this world, is being a provider and protector. That's essentially part of the dynamic of masculine, feminine, of how I see it.
I agree too. I think that the lines are getting very blurred nowadays as we step forward into more of like a modern culture. But it is, I mean, as a woman, that's how I define it, as a protector and a provider.
Well, the lines of gender are getting also
everything's blurred. Everything's blurred.
Getting pretty blurred.
There's no lines. There's no line anymore. Everything is just like a wavy little thing. All right, I want to touch on CL Talent really quickly before we kind of dive into your personal life and dating.
Okay.
So as the architects of digital influence, how do you ensure that the talent you represent maintains authenticity and integrity, especially in an era where social media can often blur the lines between reality and performance?
So, I mean, I run a lot of the social accounts for the celebrities and entertainers, and that puts the task on me to perform and authentically be them in a way that the audience still perceive them as them running that account. That's like the most important thing and quality, and also importance of successful brand building. If somebody feels like a disconnect or inauthenticity, that affects the way a brand is perceived by a community and audience. So I take a lot of time in researching and digesting who a client is before I take them on and start running their stuff, and also I have an incredible team around me that I've created and brought upon me who do a lot of the day-to-day now, but I'm very selective of how I built them. I didn't cut corners and just hire some guys in India, no offense to guys in India, but that I made sure I brought on good people that knew how to do the job as well as I could, or at least they were easy to teach this system I've created with CL Talent, and handed it off to a team to run successfully.
I love that so much.
Do you find that that's really hard? Because sometimes that's something I struggle with, is finding people who you trust to give areas of your business to.
Yeah, it was hard, but I realized the importance of delegating, and I built a great ecosystem of good people around me, which it's taken a long time, to create good, trusted humans. And my brother actually runs a lot of my agency now, and he's like a mini version of me. So like in terms of accountability, showing up, all those things, it's really a good feeling, and it's given him purpose.
Yeah, and runs
where are
in the
you and the
family,
brothers? There's 4 of you?
Yeah, he's younger than me. He's 4 years younger. But
where are you?
One older, 2 younger.
One older, 2 younger.
He's the oldest of 4 boys.
Oh, you are? Okay, 4 boys as well?
Yeah, we actually have a tattoo, all for one and one for all.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
You guys are very similar in a lot of regards. Now that
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. Basketball, 4 brothers.
Yeah. I think that Staten
don't have a
Island
fun
and South
accent.
Africa are very different, though.
That's where you
I would
up,
assume so.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to know, as a leader of the industry, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs and talent managers looking to have a meaningful impact on the world?
Stay consistent, be resilient, realize that things compound in life. So when you stick to course and really do the work consistently and show up and show up and show up, you can really separate yourself from competition. So, I've spent a lot of time like working my ass off when a lot of people are enjoying themselves and partying and doing things that I didn't really resonate with. And I've seen how that's moved me in a whole nother trajectory of who I get to spend time with and work with. And I don't want to say left people behind, because I think we're all even as humans. I don't look at anyone better than. But I've moved myself into a different network and ecosystem by just doing the work and being consistent, and staying course of what I really truly believe in as a human, and staying authentic and true to myself, and not like pivoting, especially in LA. A lot of people blend and blur and like do things because they want to do what you think is right. It's like, fuck all that. Just be yourself. Show up as yourself. That's just who I am. I have a bunch of tattoos. I don't care. Like, I dress and show up as me, and that's a powerful message because it also, you know, I think people can tell when you're authentic and when you can't. I always say you can't fake real. When somebody's just, you don't have to like think about shit twice or like, did I tell that person this and that person? No, you know, it's like I just show up as myself, and I think that's powerful in itself.
I think that's incredible advice. All right, now we're getting to personal life / the dating world.
So we know the answer to this. Are you dating? How is your dating life going? Are you active, just letting it be?
I mean, active, but not no like title on anything. So like, yeah, I'd like to find someone I really resonate with and like share a lot of the values I look for in a partner. But I'm also really enjoying myself and like have this freedom. You know, I was just in Monaco Grand Prix. Just got back 2 days ago and spent 5 days in the south of France and a week in south of France and Monaco. And like I didn't have to answer to anybody, right? And there's a lot of beautiful women over there. So, you know, things like that get to experience. And it's a big commitment that comes with being in an exclusive relationship. So I always set expectation with girls that I'm, you know, dating non-exclusively, which is currently where I'm at, you know, with that situation. But it's cool. I love the freedom I'm getting, you know, and I'm also reaching certain milestones in my personal career and growth and financially and all these other things that I still feel like I'm really ascending a lot. And that's like my focus is me and my little French bulldog helping my parents out.
Boy or girl?
That's awesome.
What's that?
A boy or a girl?
Boy, Simba.
Simba.
He's awesome.
I love French bulldogs so much. I mean, who doesn't? Truly.
Yeah. You know, and again, you meet somebody like, oh, they fart and they snore, and yeah, they're fucking cute. Just leave them alone.
They're adorable.
What are some of those morals and values? Like, if you were on a date with somebody who you thought was so beautiful, what would be some of those key things that you would need to be aligned on?
Yeah, so beauty's one side of it, obviously. Like, you need physical attraction. But the other side of it is, like, nurturing abilities. I look for in a female. It's like, how are you going to raise my children? Like, are you a giving person? Or are you very selfish and self-centered? Like, you know, granted, a lot of LA, there's this entitlement of, you know, like as a provider and male, I love to like pay for a first date, whatever. But when there's entitlement of not even getting out your card or like offering or like, I look at things like that and I'm like, don't expect anything in this life because it's a wrong mentality to have. But nurturing is a huge one. Street smarts and EQ to me is way more important than IQ. Are you able to navigate the streets and you know, you don't necessarily need IQ. I don't think I have the craziest IQ, but I have good self-awareness and EQ and being able to read
how do you read people, how do you deal with people?
Exactly. Like problem solver, be a really good problem solver. I pride myself on that. Family dynamic, you know, what is the relationship with their parents? To me that's somewhat of importance. Like there was a relationship, you know, with a girl with a mom or whatever it is. It's not everything, but it does play a part because it affects how they show up in the world. What else?
I mean, those are
really good points.
Yeah, those are things I look for. I like athletic background. Like I'm an athlete, so
you're literally
I want some athletic babies.
You're literally naming our journey together on our first date because I was new to LA when I met her and I was having fun and I was like, I don't want to be a girlfriend or anything, you know?
Yeah.
And on our first date, we had the obviously physical attraction to each other, but she started saying that she wanted to be a mom. I was like, you know, like that male chemical inside of you that's like, oh wow, imagine you as the mother of my children. That's cool.
You start to reflect on that.
And the big thing for me was I would always pay for the first date, but if you expected it, you were out.
You didn't do the reach.
So she was like adamant about paying, and she knew she wasn't going to pay. And I was like, that's such a good turn on.
That's a great,
And then the last straw for me, I think we were dating for like 4 months. We were on a hike with me, her, and her dog, and she started sprinting. And I was like, wow, her gait was so good. And when she came back, I was like, listen, I never told you this before, but I'm fully sold on you. You're so athletic. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, listen, you're just really athletic.
I've
and that was the last straw.
I've told this story a couple of times when I met his brother, one of his brothers for the first time. He kind of like looked at me up and down. And he was like, I can see why Joey likes you. I was like, why? He's like, because you're tall. You'll give him athlete babies. And I was like, I will indeed give him athlete babies.
I mean, naturally, there's certain things you look for. And I think the more I create confidence in who I am and how I show up in the world, the more I can attract and ask for things that I really look for and what I really want in life. Very fortunate. I'm also a male that doesn't necessarily have a biological clock that tells me when or when I can't have a family. So that's the other side of it. As a 36-year-old man, I think I haven't even reached my prime yet of my life, and I really take care of myself. So I try to pride myself on longevity and looking and feeling younger than I am.
Which is the beautiful thing about LA. I feel like everybody here looks and feels younger than they really are. It's such a healthy culture here, which I really like.
One side of it, I think the other side is like a lot of degenerates and
I don't know any of those people.
But the goods, I surround myself by a lot of people that have that approach and mentality, and really into health and wellness. Like those are things I love and pride myself on. And you can take everything from me, but like the health and being able to still pretend I'm an athlete and train like one, and so those physically I like. I like family dynamic too. I'm naturally attracted to like ethnic background, so tan, curly hair, all that stuff, Middle Eastern, Latino, African American. But I also like it because they often have like a good cultural family dynamic, and they value family because it's part of like that immigrant mentality with a lot of culture. They really generally have more of a family dynamic. So and I want some like cute mixed babies.
That'd be so beautiful. Just imagining it.
The other part of it, I'm like, I have some cute little mixed kids, but so those are some qualities.
I really like that. All right, Dylan, you got one more question.
I got one more question. Okay.
Una más.
Okay, you've emphasized the importance of passion and purpose. How do you incorporate those into your dating life, and how do you seek partners who align with those values? So kind of what we talked about.
Yeah, we kind of just talked about that.
You want me to skip that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just answered it.
He kind of touched on all the dating questions.
All right.
Because I'm looking at these words here, and he pretty much nailed them all.
Yeah, you've done that quite consistently throughout this podcast, where I've had
You're
a whole bunch of
us.
questions and you've answered them all in one, which has been perfect. All right, we're going to get into like some more general dating questions because you are single.
Yeah.
And I think it's always really interesting. We have a lot of women come on and we hear their perspective, but it's always really interesting to hear a fella's perspective, right? So I want to know what your go-to for a first date is. Do you just prefer like a drink, or are you committing to an entire dinner?
I think it's situational. If I really vibe with somebody or meet them and can kind of get a vibe from them, I'm more open to like, hey, let's go grab dinner. Mm-hmm. If it's like, say, using a dating app or online, I'm more susceptible to a drink, not only for me, but for them to feel more comfortable too, and saying you're not committing to some guy you might not like for a few hours and eating dinner and we both hate this and we, granted that's never happened, or I've met a couple catfish, but anyway.
Really?
How'd that go? How did you handle it?
How do I handle? I was still like polite about it and knew I didn't want to be there. Some people are like, oh, you should just end it if like that's the situation. Just politely like walk away, whatever. But I generally, if it's somebody online dating, I start with like a drink, and usually it's a drink because I hardly drink. I really not a big drinker by any means, but I like a nice cocktail. So that's how I approach it that way. And also to a girl, they're not committing to like some dinner with some guy they don't even know. So keep it pretty casual. But if I've already met them and like, hey, I'd love to take you out, if I see more potential in like wifey material, then I'm more willing to commit to that.
I think that's a good rule
of
thumb.
You did your research on us too, because that 1 minute clip was probably like a perfect ad for us.
Oh, there you go.
I don't think you really, from knowing you for the last 45 minutes, you seem like a really confident fella, right? But is there anything that kind of like sets your confidence before you go out on a first date?
No, once a girl's committed to a date, I'm already in a very confident state of mind. Mm-hmm. What I've been working on is being able to approach coldly and create conversation with somebody I don't know. And just by simply complimenting people in public it goes back to without an expectation. If it's an older person that looks really cute and saying something polite to them, or a girl that, I actually find attractive, like, hey, I love, the dress you're wearing, or complimenting things that aren't just a physical attraction, because they get that all the time. But just my way of approaching things, but it brings joy to other people. When I get a compliment, no matter who it's from, it makes you feel good, right? You're like,
Thanks.
damn, actually somebody I'm seen in this world.
Yeah.
So naturally, like putting that positive energy into the world is something I started doing more of, and I think it's helped me because sometimes I do it without expectation, but even if it's a girl, like, hey, I really like that, and just walk away, and it's like, you don't necessarily need something out of it, but just, I've learned to become an effective communicator because naturally I err more on the side of being like an introvert. Not that I'm like some, clam in a shell, but like naturally as a human, I'm not the center of attention. I'm not the guy in the room that's loud and everybody sees me. But I've learned to be an effective communicator, which helped me in dating and business and life and how I communicate with my family, everything.
Communication is so
do you ever get
important.
that adrenaline rush when you see somebody in a bar and you're like, I really want to go approach that person, and
For sure.
how is this going to go? Because that's not that I miss that, but I remember when I was single and I would kind of see somebody I was attracted to, and I was like, oh, here's that kind of like the sports where you're like getting out there for the jump ball. It's like, how's this going to go?
I definitely get that, and that's where I've learned, it's more to just approach that situation, be like, stop being a bitch, and go. But I rarely go out, a lot of events and networking, whatever. So that's more that setting comes up, or I might be in Airone, I might be at the gym, But part of like having self-awareness is reading when it's a good time to approach someone and when not, because when somebody's unapproachable and not, you can tell they don't want to be approached by anyone. That's also helps lower that risk of rejection, right? Or
also, just like a PSA to men out there, you can feel if a woman doesn't want to be approached. Like if she's got her headphones in, she's got her head down, ass up. Like, gym is tough.
When a girl creates some form of cue or eye contact or something, then I'm like a lion. And I know, like, okay.
It's the glance over. It's the direct eye contact and like the little smile. Then
exactly.
The
or
door's
at the gym,
open.
they come work out right by you, and like
you're
looking for a piece of equipment that's not even there, but you're over there, and it's like, okay, I know, like, if you get a little bit longer, maybe I'll come and approach you. And then other times I'm in my zone. I'm like, I don't want to even approach you, even if you're hot, because I'm in my zone.
Yeah, I got things to do, mate.
Yeah, I'm here to work out,
I want to know what, here in LA, or anywhere in the world, but let's do here in LA, what the perfect drink, time, and place for a date is.
Drink, time, and place? I like cocktails, so any cocktail, because they're interesting and different. And every place has like a cool different variety of them. So like when they put their little mints and rosemaries and make them look pretty, and or a mocktail. Sometimes I get mocktails because, as I said, not a big drinker. Place, a beautiful sunset like Santa Monica, somewhere like that. So that depends on time of year, but anywhere between like 5 and 7 p.m.
Q Elefante.
Yeah, Elefante could work. Yeah, there you go.
Perfect spot.
All right, 2 more for this section, and then we're going to step on to rapid fire. But I want to know what the most valuable lesson you've learnt from a past relationship is.
Most valuable lesson is the importance of timing. Because I've been in a few relationships with really good girls that had a lot of qualities, but I could just tell it wasn't the right timing for the trajectory of I was trying to do and accomplish and move in, and then maybe for them as well. So that's something I've really learned is timing is important, because certain relationships, if I'd stuck by them when I felt like I'd kind of outgrown them, I don't think I would have like continue evolving and ascending in my personal life and career and the things I'm able to do now.
100%. I think that it's so important. I fully believe, and we've talked about this a couple of times, that like if we hadn't perhaps met at the exact time that we did, we might not have ended up together just because of the trajectory of our lives. Like we started to grow together rather than grow apart.
Yeah.
But it's so vitally important that you meet somebody at the right time.
The last girl I dated, more serious relationship, she ended up being allergic to my Frenchie, and I was like, really, like broke out eczema. I was like, that's also the universe to me, like saying, oh, this isn't the right timing for where you're at, and I would never give up my Frenchie ever. So it was like, and she once said like, well, I would never give an ultimatum like between you and the dog, and it was long distance on top of that. So it was like, She would come into town and would stay at her friend's house. And I was like, this is not realistic. Like, you know, I'd touch my dog. Hey, have you washed your hands? I'm like, God, this is
It's too
my
hard.
dog. And I'm like, granted that abundance mentality, but there's plenty more in this world. There's 8 billion people. So it was like, okay, this isn't working out. And that's when my career actually started to take off with Zion, because I devoted all that time into helping him.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we ask everybody this question. Would you date yourself?
That's gay. No, I'm just kidding.
Best answer ever.
I think I'm a quality human that I'm loyal. I, commit to things. I set expectation. I would. I think granted, no human's perfect, but I think I bring a lot.
Damn straight. I love that. All right, we're going to do rapid fire. So
Okay.
just short, quick answers.
Sure.
One thing on your bucket list.
Climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, which I'm working
You're crazy. What's your love language?
on. Quality time.
When do you feel most happy in everyday life?
When I wake up and go through a gratitude practice.
Tell us about a moment where you truly pushed yourself out of your comfort zone.
Rehabilitating my fucked up ankle.
Yeah, that'll do it. If you could switch lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
No one, because I love my life.
What inspires you most?
Being able to share my gifts with the world.
Best compliment you've ever received?
I love your energy and your soul.
Something you wish you were better at dealing with?
The distance between family.
I feel you on that, babe. We're actually going back to Australia next week.
Really?
Yeah,
Sick.
for a couple of weeks. I'm really excited.
I just had my mom and brother. My brother's still here, but my mom came for a while. So
Did she love it?
She loves it here. She's got LA tattooed on her now.
Oh, really?
Did you get it here?
She's got 14 tattoos. No, I've got a little LA on my finger, and she loved that and was like, my mom's like, dope, really dope. 14 tattoos, like,
My mum
works
has a
out
full,
with me.
My mum has a full sleeve.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Sick.
full
So
like colourful sleeve, and she just got it, and she wants to get the other one done. And I was like, "Fuck, I love you so much."
that's dope. Yeah, I love my mom. Just the way she, we share a lot.
I love that. Done that. All right, one more. What never fails to make you laugh?
Comedy. I mean, like going to stand up comedy, but people watching in Walmart.
Best way to end. Craig, thank you so much for taking the time
For sure.
to spend this with us, darling. You want to do the outro?
Yeah, thank you for listening. Check out one of our past episodes and upcoming episodes. Subscribe. Check the link for Fresh Runs on Me in the show notes. And happy dating. Thank you.